History says civilizations slowly figured things out. That's not what the earliest records show. For a long time, we called it myth. Now we're translating it properly. And suddenly, it doesn't read like a story. It reads like a record. So here are 7 ancient Sumerian and Mesopotamian facts that are starting to feel a little too real.
But here is the part that makes researchers pause. The list divides history into 2 eras, a time before a massive global flood and a time after. And the rulers who lived before the flood are described as beings who were not entirely human. Some translations state that these early rulers were the ones who made civilization possible. They brought knowledge of agriculture, mathematics, astronomy, and laws that shaped the ancient world. To this day, no one can explain how the Sumerians suddenly appeared with the first written language, advanced mathematics, and astronomical charts accurate down to fractions of a degree. The King's List implies that humans did not develop these skills on their own. They were taught.
Advanced irrigation appeared out of nowhere. Massive canal systems, flood control, city planning. Suddenly. No gradual learning curve. Civilization went from 0 to HOA real fast. Number 6. They mapped the sky like engineers, not poets. Sumerian astronomy wasn't horoscope fluff. They tracked planetary cycles with math accurate enough to still work today. No telescopes, no lenses, just results. Number 5. They believed knowledge was revealed, not discovered. Sumerian texts repeatedly say wisdom came from the gods, not human trial and error. Modern science says peer review. They said download. Number 4. Their flood story predates the Bible, and it's annoyingly detailed. The Epic of Gilgamesh describes dimensions, materials, animals, timelines. Myths usually vibe. This one blueprints. That makes scholars itch. Number 3. They didn't invent writing. They documented a system. Cuneiform shows up fully formed. No toddler scribbles phase. It looks less like invention and more like rollout. Bureaucracy on day 1 is suspiciously efficient. Number 2. The Sumerian king list casually mentions kings ruling for 28,800 years.
There is an ancient text that predates the Bible, predates Egypt, and predates every civilization we recognize today. And according to the scholars who study it, this text contains a message that challenges everything we believe about human origins. It is known as the Sumerian Kings List, a document more than 4,000 years old, written in cuneiform on clay tablets. At first glance, it appears to be a simple record of ancient rulers, but when you read it carefully, the story becomes far stranger. The text claims that the earliest kings of Earth did not rule for decades or even centuries. They ruled for tens of thousands of years. One king ruled for 28,000 years. Another ruled for 36,000. And the list insists these rulers came from the heavens before they descended to Earth. Mainstream historians call the Kings List symbolic. They say the numbers are exaggerated or taken from myth.
Historians wave this off as symbolic, fair. But the list smoothly transitions from god kings to human kings without blinking. That's not how myths usually behave. It reads like a corrupted database, not a fairy tale. Number 1. The Sumerians were the first people on Earth to write about the Anunnaki. And they didn't describe them like mythical spirits. They described them like a workforce.
Taught by beings the Sumerians called the Anunnaki, beings who, according to the tablet, descended from the sky. If this text contains even a fragment of truth, then humanity's story did not begin on Earth. It began with visitors who came here long before written history.
Some oversaw creation, some managed resources, some enforced rules. And humans? Humans were created to carry the burden of the gods. That phrase shows up again, and again, and again. What's unsettling isn't just what the Sumerians wrote. It's how familiar the structure feels. A small group manages resources. Another enforces rules. and the majority exists to produce, maintain, and sustain the system. No chains, no whips, just schedules, debt, and survival tied to labor. We don't call it slavery anymore, but the system still runs on the same fuel, human effort. Maybe the gods didn't disappear. Maybe the system just learned better branding.